Today, more than ever, science and technology are present in almost every aspect of our lives. Discoveries in areas such as medicine, natural and social sciences profoundly impact the way we perceive the world around us. But what is research? Simply put, research is the process of searching for new information, data, or discoveries that can enhance our understanding of the world. And research is divided into various categories, but today we will focus on two major categories: quantitative research and qualitative research. I am Paulo Cesar and I will help you understand a bit more. The content covered in the National Entrance Exam for the Masters in Professional Education and Technological, the EPT itself. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, take the opportunity to subscribe using the button below. Yes, you will be notified of new content that will be posted in the coming weeks. In quantitative research, the goal is to analyze numerical data and seek generalizations. The researcher distances themselves from the object of study by applying methods, rigorous observation and control. An example is research in the natural sciences, where the researcher collects a large amount of data to then generalize this data. This type of research is concerned with objectivity and seeks to eliminate any personal influence of the researcher on the study. On the other hand, in qualitative research, we have the focus is not on numbers, but on perceptions, meanings, and experiences. In this case, the researcher is directly involved in the research field, which means that the subjectivity and personal experiences of the researcher, as well as their skills, play an important role in this process of research and discovery of the facts being investigated. An example of qualitative research is one that investigates human and social relationships, where the researcher observes in detail the behavior and meanings attributed by people. In qualitative research, what matters most are the meanings that people attribute to their own experiences. It is important to remember that this qualitative approach seeks to understand motivations, beliefs, attitudes, and values. And it is this qualitative research that helps us dive into the subjective universes of the participants, providing a deeper understanding of social reality. The main difference between quantitative research and qualitative research is that quantitative research seeks to measure and control variables, while qualitative research seeks to understand human experiences and how people attribute meaning to their own lives. In qualitative research, the researcher is not an external observer. On the contrary, they become part of the research process itself. The researcher is deeply immersed in the field, and their interactions with participants do indeed, influence the research, directly affecting the research results. This means that the researcher must always be attentive both to their own impressions and to how they interpret the data. This qualitative research requires a critical stance, a reflective stance, where the researcher needs to be willing to constantly revisit their hypotheses as new data, and interpretations emerge throughout the research. And now I invite you to reflect. In your opinion, can this active participation of the researcher affect the results of qualitative research? Could the research become biased, or does it enrich the research? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Another important point in research is the dialogical perspective. The term dialogicity refers to the constant interaction between the researcher and the research participants. This interaction is fundamental because the researcher not only observes but also engages in dialogue and reflection with the research subjects. Qualitative research, therefore, is a process of continuous exchange where the views and interpretations of everyone involved in this process are considered for the construction of knowledge. Another fundamental concept in qualitative research is the notion of incompleteness. Human beings and consequently science are unfinished. This means that knowledge is never definitive or even complete. In qualitative research, this incompleteness is acknowledged, and the researcher works reflectively, knowing that the data and conclusions are always provisional, open to new interpretations. Qualitative research is not just about understanding a phenomenon, it also transforms the researcher themselves. The researcher becomes deeply involved with the field, with the subjects, and this constant interaction results in a formative process. The researcher learns, questions their own assumptions, and grows throughout the research as they learn from the interactions and dialogues. And this is what makes this process so dynamic but also so challenging. In qualitative research, it is impossible to dissociate the researcher from their object of study. The researcher carries with them their own experiences, values, expectations, and these elements influence how they will collect the data and how they will interpret this data. And this acknowledgement of subjectivity is part of the qualitative research process. And instead of eliminating this subjectivity, the researcher must recognize and be aware of the impact of this subjectivity during the research process. And one of the greatest challenges of qualitative research is precisely to maintain a critical and self-critical stance throughout the entire process. The researcher needs to constantly be observing and questioning their own assumptions, staying attentive to the data they collect, and not settle for the first answers. Familiarity with the field can often lead to complacency, but the researcher needs to maintain a critical eye and attentive gaze so as not to become too biased. Throughout this video, we have seen that research can be divided into two major categories: quantitative research and qualitative research. While quantitative research seeks numerical data, statistics, generalizations, qualitative research aims to better understand human experiences, meanings, values, and the ways people perceive and feel the world. The role of the researcher in qualitative research is an active one and involves a constant exchange of ideas, which, as we have seen, is a process of dialogicity. All of this brings new challenges and opportunities for the production of knowledge. If you liked the summary of this video, comment below so I know if you are enjoying this type of content. And stay tuned for the upcoming lessons, which will be posted here on the Bora Aprender channel related to the content aimed at the National Access Exam for the Master's PROFEPT. See you in our next videos.